everyone. Scrappy Kathy here with a Freeze Friday, again on Sunday, layout share and spending update. The spending update is going to be really quick. I've spent nothing. I didn't even buy any basics like adhesive or albums or page protectors, although I expect I'm going to need some after this stack of layouts I'm going to go through. This past week, last weekend, after my last share, I did the Mind the Scrap Marvel-themed Cybercrop, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then I did some overlapping and some individual layouts for the Secret Not Secret Kid Club monthly scrap party. And I did my normal challenges that I get involved in on a weekly basis. And I've also changed out I'm going to kind of start this off with my clipboards. And for those of you who don't know, I have a shelf that I put these two 12 by 12 clipboards. I got them from Amazon. Melinda Greer, who some of you may know, told us about these a couple of years ago. So I got a black one and a white one, and I usually put a white themed layout here. This is a layout I did let me see if this was a double challenge. I don't even have it labeled. That's terrible. It was an off-the-board layout, and this was the original pin. And I have a video out on my channel of how this came together. It's a photo printed 12 by 12, and it's very blurry. The figure's blurry, but it serves as a nice... I have to get that straight. I'm kind of OCD about that. Okay, so I'll put that. Then a whole mixture of seashore related things, including this that was made by MK Gunn and given away at the Secret Not Secret Rediscover Your Stash retreat in Oak Harbor, Ohio about a year ago. So I put that on the clipboard, and I also put this layout, which I think I've shared before, lots of Vicky Boutin, and I think this is, I'm losing what that is. That's not Vicky Boutin, this background, but it kind of works with the colors in there. So I put those on, and so I'm going to show you the ones that I took off. This is one that I may not have shared before. I made it quite a long while ago, August 26th of last year, and this was a cut file that I got free or that I bought from Paige Evans, and I decided to back it with my own mixed media and other creations. This is a bit of a mural that I painted on Katie's wall. This is an alcohol ink print. This is color burst. This is a painting that I actually did through a stencil. I actually did this little kind of watercolor painting. This is watercolor I did with color burst. So a stamp that I watercolored in with watercolor pencils and then blended. Same with this. This is a scan of a mixed media piece that I did with a very heavy, it's on canvas, a very heavy medium through the stencil, and then some colors, watercolors through there. This is this and this both came from an art journal page. This is also an art journal page. This is Diane Reevely, Dilutions Paints. This is a bit of a watercolor thing I did. In any case, this is probably one of my favorite layouts, and it's kind of must-make stuff, and I took a picture of my table kind of like it looks now, and then clean up. And so it's after a crop weekend in August of 2019. So that was up there. And then this is another Paige Evans cut file that's love you lots. It's kind of a love letter page to my hubby. And I actually filtered the photos to kind of go with the color scheme of the Truly Grateful collection, which is what I used. I think this may have been the first thing I made with the Truly Grateful collection. And now, I'm into layouts I've made in the last week, I think. Let me go through a couple of them. This one is a remake. I do a monthly segment in the Secret Not Secret Kit Club party called Getting Messy with Scrappy Kathy. And I had originally scrapped this. You've possibly seen the video, and I made an absolute mess of the mixed media in the back. I just was not happy with it at all. So I pulled my photo cluster up, and that's the advantage of actually gluing it all together and having it available as one unit. And I took a lot of the miscellaneous things around there, and I tried a new technique in getting messy. So what I did here was I had cut a circle mask, laid it down on this paper, adhered it with some adhesive kind of over here because I knew this is where the photo cluster would go. And then I did a little circle of different paints in the center and used my brush to pull them out, and it left these little marks around the edges there. My one regret is I was kind of hoping for a lot more orange to show, but the orange paint I used is a kind of a transparent looking, translucent paint. So the challenge that was to fix something you didn't like about an old layout, or to finish something like adding journaling or adding embellishments, or just finishing a project that you had started. So that was kind of my challenge to people. So that was my version of that. And one of the things I finished for the challenge was I had done this Christmas page, and I had left off photos because we hadn't celebrated our Christmas with Ava yet. So here's a picture of all of us kind of standing in the dining room, which is where the tree was. And this is Ava as she came home from the hospital after her 28 days there, and she's in front of the giant Olaf. So I finished that page. Now I'm into newly created layouts. This one was done on the 21st, and it was for Scrap Squad Sunday, and a load, the load prompt that day was to scrap about a pet. So I had lots of birthday supplies from my Mind the Scrap January kit, and this is a Bramble Fox perspective. I just made a birthday page for Reese and hand cut some friends. I have a video out there. A lot of you have seen that. Let me now go. Here is it's a load layout for the 24th, and it uses paper piecing. And this is actually a lift of Nikki Rowland's layout that she did in the Mind the Scrap Cybercrop, and hers was also called Partners in Crime. I had these 3 different filters applied to this photo of Katie and Ava, and this is entirely, I made this within an hour of actually receiving the Mind the Scrap March kit in the house. I just loved it, and I kind of pulled the papers together and figured they went closely enough with this pink part of the paper scheme. I included some yellow where I could to kind of reflect this one. And I didn't do any red, white, and blue, but I'm thinking that photo doesn't look too much out of place. And there are donuts and hedgehogs and all kinds of fun things that the girls kind of love. This one is a load page. I forget exactly what the prompt was. I know the prompt was to use red, so I did that. This is all done with Mind the Scrap March kit, except this background paper, which is a basic gray paper called Clippings, and I just love it. It has this distressing up here. I used something in the mixed media kit to make this. I actually had intended to do a whole half the page with that, and that didn't work out, so I just die cut some pieces and fussy cut this flower, and then did the white letters, the same alpha that I used here. I actually, from the scraps there, I sprayed them with water, and so that activated the color, and I dipped this in there, and then I went over it with a gold glitter paintbrush to highlight, you know, inside the letters. You still can't see them as well as I wish you could, but there was a part of the prompt was to use gold, and I have gold speckles around here, and then I used a gold pen to, sadly I did the speckles before I did the journaling, and so there's some speckles in and among the journaling. I didn't get a chance to cover it up. This one is also a, well, this is a mixed media frenzy, and it's the latest one we did, and the original had this great purple and blue color scheme, and I kept with that. There's a video out on my channel of how I did this one, and I had this gray frame, and I matched some gray washi tape, and just everything about this kind of came out the way I would want it. At first I wanted kind of cleaner brush strokes like the original, but someone commented that there's a lot of I don't know, action, or there's a lot of movement or something in this, and I realized that's kind of what I was taking away from it. So I've actually, one of you wonderful people out there has actually convinced me that I like this better than I thought I did. Okay, now this one is one I actually sort of lifted an idea from Emma Clark of Mind the Scrap, and this is all using the March Mind the Scrap kit based on a load prompt about some kind of happy accident, something unexpected that happened. And this was when we went to Bouchard Gardens in Victoria, when I was on a business trip a million years ago. And we'd walked around, we were tired and we were hungry, and we knew we were facing a taxi ride back into town and had no idea where we were going to eat. So we stopped by the restaurant, thought we'd have no chance in heck of getting a table, and they said, yes, we have one. Would you like it? And we said, sure. You know, sight unseen, no idea where it was. It turned out to be right out here overlooking the gardens, and the food, the menu included all sorts of fresh, wonderful things that were grown in their kitchen gardens, and just absolutely the most beautiful views in the world. Now, I do not have my photos that I took, so all these images are from the web, but this is absolutely what it looks like there. If you get a chance to go, it's absolutely amazing. Okay, this is one I did this week on the 27th, and it's kind of the prompt was about something you're viewing from afar. And so I found this picture from behind the four kids as they were walking. They're actually walking to a restaurant for my birthday celebration that year. I think it was 2013, maybe. And I used some scraps I had from Paige Evans' Bloom Street, and kind of made a Bloom Street with blooms all around. And I titled it "Growing Away" because they're going away in this photo, and they're growing away. These two girls are graduating from high school. Ava, of course, is recovering from cancer and going into middle school. Barrett is pursuing his sports career, has moved from middle school to high school. So lots of changes in their lives. And this one I did just a couple days ago for the Scrap Squad Sunday that went live today. I did this on Friday. The original I don't have printed there. I have to go do that. The original has a beautiful cutout heart, and it has white alphas, and then there's a string of florals kind of coming from a cluster here, kind of arching down. And this wasn't a floral kind of photo. It's Ava and her best friend Olivia just cracking up after having done something or seen something on Musical.ly, which is an app that's now called TikTok. And it was just such vibrant, wonderful laughter. I kind of had to sneak in a photo, and they... It seemed to fit in. Well, actually, let me tell you the story. This is the first thing I chose. This orange sticker that was from, I don't know, who knows where, some collection, oh, no, yeah, that's where that was. So I wanted something orange, and I knew the only orange alpha I had was from a Christmas collection at Pink Fresh, and so I used Pink Fresh for everything. I cut this background paper, has this strip of orange dots, and I pulled a lot of orange embellishments in there, and I pulled in some of the other colors, from this as well. This is a very fun layout, and it's different for me. Number one, it's different because it doesn't have florals, and I usually have them. And here comes another one that doesn't have florals. This is the first, it's the first layout that I did for Challenge 1. I got up at 5 in the morning to get Challenge 1 yesterday in the For the Love of Pretty Paper 1 in 4 Cybercrop. It was a special leap day, and you get leap days once every 4 years. And so they gave you four challenges, and you can see these stickers here. I wrote down each of the challenges, and the challenges, or the prompts for this one, were stickers, scraps, sequins, scallops, and the color sapphire. And so you could pick 1 in 4, one of either stickers, scraps, sequins, or scallop, and include sapphire along with it. So I wanted to challenge myself even further to get all 4 of those and the color sapphire. So I have the color sapphire is in these sequins, and these are sequin stars, and I use scraps for everything. This was a piece of scrap paper that I pulled off of this blue cardstock, which is also kind of a sapphire blue, was a scrap, as was this piece underneath it. And all of these were scraps from various collections. And this little tiny picture, I had printed a whole string of pictures that I wanted to cut in circles, and I couldn't cut this one in a circle and get both Barrett's head and Ava's head, so I just left it square and put it on this layout. It's a goofy time when he's wearing his Texas Tech shirt, he's a big sports fan, and his Spider-Man glove. Okay, this one was for Challenge 2 there, and it's also a load prompt. So I did a twofer here. The load prompt was to scrap about someone who's always been there for you and to use stitching. So the For the Love of Pretty Paper challenge was chipboard, and I have a chipboard star. Clips, I found 3 clips that actually, these are office supply clips that happen to be the perfect colors for this We Are Memory Keepers chalkboard paper that I used. I used both sides. I had 2 sheets of it, and I used both sides. And we had to use crosses and charcoal. So the background is charcoal. It's kind of a chalky charcoal gray, and there's charcoal in these arrows. And I used crosses. I stitched the crosses, so I got the load prompt for stitching and the cross prompt from For the Love of Pretty Paper. Let's see, what else did I need? Chipboard, clips, cork. I found a sheet of cork and used it as backing here, and as you can see, it doesn't necessarily cut cleanly on a trimmer, so it's better to do with scissors. And crosses, and there are the crosses and charcoal. So that was done. It just talked about my my hubby and how he's been there for me for everything for 40 years now, and I couldn't be happier. This one I did after midnight, so technically I can get a point for each of these pages in Calvinball. And I did this very early this morning as a 2-pager. I don't know where I got this paper. It's very thin paper, but it worked perfectly for this purpose. The challenges here from For the Love of Pretty Paper were ribbon, and I've got ribbon on both pages, rub-ons, and I've rubbed on this word love, and the rub-on isn't sticking very well in this little kind of filigree thing. And I've rubbed on the word cherish there. Rickrack, and I've used red rickrack on both pages for the bridge between the 2 paper types. And rectangles, and I've got these little rectangles of burlap or canvas that actually came from a tag, so I've kind of used them as little layering pieces here. And the color red, so I've certainly got red around. There's just in case this has to count as rickrack and not red, and that has to count as ribbon and not red, I have this red heart, and there are these red dots on the paper. And same here, I have the red dots on the paper, and Ava's red sweater. So this is kind of, these are a couple birthday pages. This is about a birthday movie we went to see, Frozen 2, with, and it's absolutely Ava's favorite movie. And talking about, I gave the kids hugs, and I kind of got a hug from my son, but I had to wait till my actual birthday to get my real annual birthday hug from my son. I get hugged. He gives me hugs on Mother's Day and my birthday. So that was that. And this is my very first one done to Calvinball rules, and it also does the challenge 4 for the Love of Pretty Paper. And I just finished this one this morning. For the Love of Pretty Paper prompts were acetate, this is an acetate overlay, acrylic, which is the title, arrows, there's this arrow and this arrow, adventure, and I've got a sticker here, this is Adventure is Out There, and the color amber. Now I actually have this paper that's kind of amber, and in fact these hearts are kind of amber heading towards orange, and I used a filter to add a lot of amber colors into the main top photo. So the Calvinball prompts were first layout, you get a point, and this is the first one I added to my album. I'll go back and add these other 2. White lettering or white pen, and I did that here in my journaling on this charcoal piece of paper. Frame, and I've got a little tiny frame, wooden frame down here. Star, which is right there. Gold foil, this is a gold foil arrow. And doily, and I've got a square doily there. So that fits both prompts, and you can see my little system for keeping my prompts here. Now, these are ones I did for the Mind the Scrap Mind the Scrap Cybercrop, and I'm not going to tell you what I don't think I've recorded. This I think was the first challenge, and I used the January Mind the Scrap kit, and it's a lift from, and I improperly attributed it to Anne Freeman. It's actually Yvonne Schofield, or Schofield, and it's just so simple. This is a stamp, and that pink ink came in the kit, and I actually have a big stamp pad that I can pour liquid ink onto, and then I wet the stamp, and that's what I did here. Just a strip of this paper from that January collection. These are little puffy dots, and these just are pictures of the three kids at a dinner we all went out to together, and I just titled it These Three, and I didn't have a 3, so I turned a ampersand upside down. So there's that. This is one that I did for a Scrap Squad lift. It was their lift number 8 in their Cybercrop, and it was the second one in the to the second prompt in the Mind the Scrap Cybercrop. And this is all using Paige Evans' Bloom Street. And this was the original that I lifted from Scrap Squad, and this was mine. And I actually hunted around for a photo that I could do kind of 3D like that. So there's that. This one is kind of a mishmash. This was the practice run of that painting technique, and I had lots of different colors and different types of paints here, and I did it on regular typing paper, so I just tore it out and used it as the background for the lettering here. This is a Christy Harriman's drive-in challenge on Secret Not Secret Party, and we were to use a page that used modes of transportation. So these are gears, a gear cut file that we got in the Creative Cuts Club, and I had used bits of them for other layouts, so I just kind of put what I had left there. Used this Ava Loves Cars, and it shows a picture of Ava in front of the posters and the framed prints that she had about cars. I have somewhere a photo of her playing with the cars, and I thought I might be able to put it on there at some point. I think there was some requirement for stamps and some requirement for die cuts and some requirements for glitter and metallic. I'm not sure where these, why these other elements are here, but the cars satisfied Christie's challenge. Though Sarah Scraps had an all-white challenge on the Secret Not Secret Party, and in Mind the Scrap, the Mind the Scrap challenge, I think, might have required one of the parts of the challenge required using a large photo. So I had this large photo of Katie holding a sign, "This is Dad, you are my hero." And I did it as much all white as I possibly could. I did this, I die cut this butterfly out of the thing that I painted on top of the mask when I created this, so that's why it's all those colors. And I put a couple little tiny purple hearts because that's what I do. That's about as close to to all white as I'm going to get. This one was for Mind the Scrap and Secret Not Secret palette by Scrapping Amy. And I kind of combined those. We were to scrap, have our page titled, one of the prompts was to use I am and fill in the blank. So again, from that painted piece, I die cut this little woodland scene, put a little animal there, have some flowers and some wildlife and so forth there. And I've got, I just called it I Am Purple. It kind of tells about, my journaling tells about the color purple is all about passion, and I'm passionate about my amazing hubby, son, and grandkids, about travel and beaches and scrapping. I love scrapping, and of course purple. So that's kind of that. This is a requirement for using black cardstock, and I've also done the Secret Not Secret Color Play Challenge, and the palette I drew for colors were several different shades of green and black and white. So I immediately found, what I found first was a piece of paper that had these toucans on it, and I went and chose all the other papers because there are several colors of green, all the colors of green there, and I needed some stamping, so I did some stamping with what's the ink that stamps on anything? It's an oil-based ink. I did it on glitter paper, and there were probably 15 passes I had to make on this because it's glitter paper. And I die cut these arrows out of that same painted piece that I did the butterfly and the woodland scene. So, and this is a picture of me holding Ava's hand walking out into the water. And I'm tending to want to cover that up, but I love the memory so much I forgive the photo. This one is about a great team. There are 4 challenges here. There's an image inspiration, Mind the Scrap, Avengers, Load 22, and a Secret Not Secret, and Scrap Squad Cybercrop number 9. So they're in their Scrap Squad original. There was a hexagon, and I wanted to use this paper, and I brought it into my word processing system. Doesn't have a hexagon shape, but it did have a pentagon. So I pulled it into there, cut it out, propped it up, and instead of having it be a cutout, it was a and talking about what a great team he and I have made for the past 40 years, and kind of talking a little bit about that there. This one is for the Mind the Scrap. It was calling for kind of a half and half page and a tiny photo. Among there were other prompts there, but I used all Bloom Street by Paige Evans for a very, very simple page that came together in about 15 minutes. The next one is it's a Scrap Squad Cybercrop number 10 and a Mind the Scrap challenge and a Secret Not Secret extra where I put in all 10 of their kind of grab 10 or 10 item challenge. And so it's a photo of me talking about my dream. So it's titled Beach Dreams. And if I'm not at a beach, I'm dreaming of being at one. This is a painting that I did the last time we were at Margaritaville Beach Hotel, and I've scanned it and then printed a million of them and fussy cut them and put them on my Xyron to make stickers out of them. Then I used various stickers. But I had stamps from Wild at Heart and this Heidi Swap clear stickers. And I just put a heart mask there and stamped in Distress Oxide inks to match the colors that were in the photo. So very easy to put this one together, and I absolutely love it. And it kind of shows. It makes my dirty desk actually look kind of pretty and colorful. So, okay, here's for a prompt about something you love about your home. I decided to focus on my kitchen, and we had a challenge where I kind of joked we were to in this challenge kind of scrap about something that we made, and I had just made dinner, and this dinner was or a lunch actually. So I said, can I just scrap about my lunch? And they laughed and said no. So I scrapped about the kitchen and included a picture of the lunch. And this kitchen is absolutely the best kitchen I've ever had. It's small. I can stand at the sink, turn around and take something out of the refrigerator and tend to something on the stove. So it's all very nice little triangle there, and it's colorful. I've got my some of my punches are up on this wall hanging together with some broken coffee cups, but that are pretty, and I hide the broken part. And right here are all my stencils hanging on a revolving stand. So I can see a lot of scrapbooking inspiration while I'm doing the dishes or cooking a meal. And honestly, I get ideas every time I'm in the kitchen for something to scrap. So that's that page. Again, I think everything here is Paige Evans, Bloom Street. This was the layout that I was lifting. So you can hopefully see the resemblance. I did this one at a live scrap along where Emma Clark kind of spoke out what she was doing. She gave us a list of supplies to gather beforehand, and I ran around and pulled things out of my How to Kill a Kit with Style kit, which is all Vicky Boutin. I think nowadays I'm actually combining the Vicky Boutin with what was left from my Truly Grateful Paige Evans collection. But I think everything here is from Vicky Boutin. And one of the things that we had to have were 3 small photos of the same event. And I happen to have these photos printed of a game night where, oddly enough, we're playing Monopoly, and Ava was the banker, so go figure. And that was, let's see, 2012. She was 4, so you can about imagine how that game went. And John seems to really be concentrating on it, like he may actually be trying to win. Go figure. So that was this was a fun page to do, and I thought the colors that the photo was printed kind of went with everything that I managed to find. Here's another Vicky Boutin based layout, and it was a Mind the Scrap challenge, and I honestly forget what the challenge was, and it's kind of cool if you don't tell the challenge, because then you guys can join and see how amazing these challenges are next time there's a crop, and I'll be sure and mention it. Okay, that's moving. I don't really want that to happen. So this was this magical honeycomb paper in the Vicky Boutin honey, Wildflowers and Honey collection. So I just kind of everything on here was fussy cut from the same page of paper, all of the embellishments. This was a 4x6 card that was an envelope. This was a 4x6 card. This was a strip on that cut apart page. This was a cut apart. This was the back of this was part of a cut apart, and I rounded the corners. I fussy cut these out of there. And it's just goofy. I'm kind of saying, as long as it's not disturbing other people, we will definitely be the ones with the balloon hats and having a good time. This was taken at a pizza place on my birthday. That's kind of a tradition for everybody to go out and have pizza, and then we go to a bookstore and everybody picks a book. So this one was to talk about something that you did that made things better. And this is a picture of me in a United Way project t-shirt doing a gardening project for a women's shelter. And I did quite a few of those, and my landscape company actually did volunteer projects at schools and public parks. And so I had this cut file. The load prompt was to use a light bulb or something that indicated a bright idea that you'd had. And so I did a close-up of a garden at my home, but it was colorful, and I wanted to use that. So this was both load and a Mind the Scrap Cybercrop. This one is a Mind the Scrap prompt where it was to use mismatched elements. And so I pulled things from just scraps, and it ended up from a bunch of different collections. And I have embellishments from Vicki Boutin and from Pink Fresh, and there's Paige Evans, and this is a pretty little papers, or anyway, it's on a pink background. Some of these colors don't appear to go, but I love it, and I backed the photo with those colors, and it's just kind of a group of us, my husband and me and Katie and Barrett, getting ready to walk into a movie. No particular story there. This one was for a prompt about being a teen, or your last day as a teen. That was kind of the angle I took. You're supposed to include pictures of yourself as a teen. This is a picture of me on my first day not being a teen. This is my 20th birthday party, and I was a math tutor for the football team at my university, and the football team had just won the Gulf States Conference Championship, and the newspaper in my little hometown was very interested in the fact that they were at my house giving me a birthday party at my grandmother's house. So here's one of the football players kissing my grandmother, and they're all, hoisting the beers from the kegs that were bought. This was a photo that was in the newspaper, and a lot of these guys were legitimate superstars in those games. So I chose to do this on a gold foiled vellum piece that came in a Mind the Scrap kit, and I did some Vicki Boutin fussy cutting of scraps, and added a lot of gold and black and white trim around there. So that was a birthday page for me. This one was to maybe make mention of some things that weren't so happy. And I actually have everyday kind of photos here that I cut into circles. That one that I showed you before that I couldn't cut into a circle. So I just kind of went with this circle theme, and I used this beautiful Pink Fresh paper that's got a grid so I could kind of place things. my journaling kind of talks about nothing better for the soul than seeing the world through the eyes of children, and then saying that all these kids are older now and life hasn't been rosy always, but these memories will last a lifetime. And I say, or at least until the ink fades in 200 years. So that was a fun one to do. I got some, I have one of those round applicators and some Distress Oxide inks, and 3 colors that I thought matched this side strip on the paper. And I did those around and then did the circle stamp over and then put the photo there and had another stamp. Actually, these circles were the place keepers for where I wanted to put the photos. This one is the criteria, it was a Mind the Scrap Cybercrop prompt about being a caregiver, or and having something hidden. So I've hidden my journaling kind of back here and created a pocket for it with this little turtle that is not completely adhered. So I, again, using a paper that I dearly love. This is a Mind the Scrap having to do, we needed 2 pictures, one large and one smaller. And so this is the photo of Ava's bed that was a gift to her on her birthday in, I think it was 2015. And then this is a picture, everybody's taking pictures of her going crazy on her bed or about her bed. And so this was before we actually painted the mural on her wall, which we did if we got back from a trip later that summer. This was to scrap about something you're good at, and I think I'm a good cook, and I had just made this for dinner, butternut agnolotti and with garlic cream sauce and roasted garlic cream sauce and roasted bell pepper on top, and it was a delicious meal, and it gave me a chance to use my, this looks black, but it's really silver foil paper that I use mostly for card making, but I have all these dies of kitchen utensils. And I happen to have a holographic alpha, and so I heart cooking. And another one, I think this was the last, is that right? Oh, okay, yes. This was the last challenge there, and I had won the bingo game that started out the Cybercrop weekend, and so I did a tongue-in-cheek page. I usually like to end crops on with a tongue-in-cheek nose. So I heavily filtered a photo of myself wearing sunglasses that say swag. So I said, I won bingo, so now I get swag. And I've, never come close to it, but I won the whole card. I filled the whole card and won that, so I was thrilled. Then there had been probably the first one I did. In fact, it was the first one I did. There had been a pre-party challenge where we were to use this image as inspiration, or talk about something that changed, the drastic change in your life using the color red, or talk about somebody or have a photo, or talk about somebody being outnumbered in some way. So what I did, I did the star. This has a more of a sun shape than the star. So I found these shapes on my word processing system. I dragged photos in. This was the day I had my head shaved. to match Ava's. And then I went over to her house and showed her, and she took this selfie of us with our shaved heads. And it's called Like Ava. And what I say in my journaling is Ava was outnumbered by people with hair. So I had mine shaved off. And all of this, beautiful vellum paper and this red ombre paper that's called Wax Lips Ombre. The other side of it is just the color of wax lips, and it's beautiful on its own, but when it ombres into this really darker color. So that was a drastic change, and I brought in the outnumbered, and I paid homage to the star and the colors in the image. Now what you see here, these little splatters, I've used a hot pink Heidi Swapp color shine, and when you splatter it on red paper, the color is absolutely amazing. I don't know if you can see that shine. Let me see if I can bring this over, and that doesn't really help much. Anyway, so that ends it. A very long layout share, and with Calvinball starting today, I expect to have long layout shares. And as you can tell, some of these were made with kits, or collections that were on my exception list for spending, but most I just dug out of the scrap pile or pulled from my stash, and I'm having so much fun doing that. I'm really loving all this. So sorry for taking up so much of your time, but I've had a couple requests for this, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye.